You could have great players and a great coach, and maybe get to a championship game, a conference championship game. You can have great players, a great coach, get some luck, and be fortunate to win a conference championship game. You could have great players, great coach, get some luck, and the planets align, and then you got a shot at winning the overall national championship. And I don't think that the general people realize how hard it is to win football games. When you see like Billy Napier walk off the field and it looks like has a death in his family, it's because all they put into it. When you see Scott Strickland walk off the field, or you see the players walk off the field, and they look like someone just took their dog, man, that's what it's all about. It's difficult to win a game.
Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at the Ponderosa. Good show for you today. Now, we were going to have Matt Wyatt on, but he, for some reason, without telling me, he went to the mountains, and he can't. The reception's not good, so we were trying to get back to each other, and but at the same time, I read this column by Matt Hayes in USA Today about Billy Napier and how he could be gone by the end of the weekend. And I said, that's the guy I need to get on anyway. So Matt Hayes will join us. Of course, you know him from 1010XL on radio, and of course writes for USA Today as well. Really good guy, really good writer. We'll talk to him about what's going on at the University of Florida. Coach Spurrier, of course, will be on Monday, and then Thursday, Daniel Werfel will join us. So I'll put the Heisman pictures up behind me when he's on. How about that? Or maybe I can get one of these, That'll be good. I'm gonna make because I'm not good at this, but my wife's really good at finding good things. And so today we have the blue screen behind us for the what they do for the press conferences. All right, let us move to our Royal Blue starting five, brought to you by our good friend Randy Royal at Royal Blue Yacht Sales, the place to go if you need a boat. No question about it. He does an amazing job. I was just looking through some of my old photos, and I found that photo he sent us of that Gator boat. Maybe we can get that up at one time eventually again. I don't know if he sold it or not. I need to check with him and find out if he did. All right, so here's our Royal Blue starting five. Number one is the obvious question that I get every place I go. In fact, the garbage guys are coming around now, and if I go out there, they'll go, "Hey, is Billy getting fired this week?" I swear to God, it's unbelievable. And I'm like, first of all, I don't know. Do I suspect he might? Yes. I'm not sure how much Scott Strickland has talked. I know he's talked to boosters, and I know that they've talked to him, and we'll see what happens. But look, the bottom line is you've got to do better. You got to quit being stubborn. I think if you're stubborn, you're stubborn, and it's not going to just be something you learn how to solve. If you're not stubborn, you're not stubborn. I mean, I don't think I'm a very stubborn person, but I guess I'm stubborn about some things, like watching 4 TVs. Yeah, okay, that makes me weird. That just makes me weird. But here's where I am right now. Florida needs a coach with an edge. I got to give Colin Cowherd credit for this because I said it on the radio, I think it was the other day, and somebody said, it's a grid line. No, but he's the one who said it. And maybe he got it from somewhere too. Enough with the analytics. Let's go to the Manalytics. And Manalytics would be you feel the game and you understand where the game is and what you should do, and you got a grip on it. And I think they require too much, or I'm sorry, they depend too much on what it says to do on 3rd and 4 and plus territory versus the feel you have for the game. You got to have a coach who feels the game and has an edge. A guy who is not afraid to go light guys up when they need it. Not afraid to pull guys and sit them on the bench when they need it. Not afraid to, take a shot at the other team. Remember a coach named Spurrier that used to do that? It was fun. And look, people hated him all over the SEC, okay? when he was a coach at Florida. And you know what? We loved that everybody hated him. And as he once said, if your enemies all love you, that's probably because they're beating you. That's where it is right now. I'm sure there are people all over this conference that want Billy Napier to stay at Florida forever. He's 2 games under 500. That's why they want him to stay there. It's a bad situation. But we'll see. I mean, to me, this team doesn't have that edge. They play hard. It's not a question of playing hard. But, we talked about this the other day. Florida scored 7 points in the fourth quarter of the games they played. At 7 points, they scored in the fourth quarter. Those were all against USF. They did take the lead, and that was an exciting moment. Probably the highlight of the year, to be honest with you. That's it. They haven't scored again. They defensively seem to wear down late. So if I was the coach, if I was in charge of this system, I would say we have to look at our strength and conditioning. And I'm not saying you got to fire people. I'm saying, why isn't it working? Why are we getting tired? Why are we not scoring in the second half? And that strength and conditioning or nutritionist might turn around and go, how about if you call some good plays? Boom. Oh, that'd be a good fight. Then we'd have an edge going, man. Back and forth they go. They're wrestling. Oh, they're wrestling. Billy Napier is wrestling the strength coach. That'd be good stuff. I would rather see that than the offense I've been watching. So let's get to number 2 on our Royal Blue starting 5. And these are stats that matter. And I talked about some of them earlier, but 7 points in the fourth quarter is obviously not unacceptable. And everything I'm going to say is unacceptable. 126 in pass efficiency. Now, it's easy to say that, look, a completed pass is a product of many things. Running a good route, getting separation, quarterback reading the entire field, offensive line protecting the quarterback and giving him all the time he needs. None of those things are happening. I get that. And that's why their pass efficiency is so low. 126 out of 134. That's not good. And they've been passing it a lot lately, which is one reason. And some of it's because they've fallen behind. Those are the stats. And I mentioned last in the SEC in scoring. Did I mention that one? I don't think I did. Last in the SEC in scoring. Last. Dead ass last is where they are. It's just mind-boggling. But look, if you were the head coach should fire the offensive coordinator. That's the bottom line. There is no doubt he should fire the offensive coordinator. I know they played against tough teams and they played against elite defenses, but this is one thing I'm going to talk about with Matt coming up. The one thing they played 4 straight teams that were ranked in the top 10, and 4 really good defenses, elite defenses. Actually 5 if you want to count that South Florida defense, because everybody's got good players. So you have good players. So you need an edge in the coaching department. You need somebody who comes up with something, whether it's an assistant or a head coach. They don't have that. That's not happening. It's just plod along, try to get 4 yards of play, avoid losing. When you're trying to avoid losing, you usually lose. And you have to, I mean, if I know there's a sentiment among people that's the offense that Billy Napier runs is an avoid losing kind of mentality of we can't take any chances, we can't do this. Well, if you're trying to avoid losing and you 2 games under 500 for your career, maybe you should not try to avoid losing. Maybe you should go for it. Maybe you should let it all hang out. But again, stubborn. Stubborn is as stubborn does, man. And stubborn money don't make money. I can tell you that. All right, let's get to number 3 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is that it's homecoming. Yay! It used to be yay. I used to love homecoming when I was a kid, especially. I feel bad for kids today. And again, they wouldn't know it unless I tweeted it out or put it on Instagram. But I do feel bad that they don't have this glorious parade. The parade is what it is. It's not what it used to be. Let's just face it. It used to be I mean, something that you really wanted to go to. And you used to drive all around all the frats and all the sororities and see all the different things they would. And they'd always take their floats back there afterwards and park them in the front yard. And I mean, this was as a kid in Gainesville. Ride around. My parents would put the 4 kids in the car and just ride all around and look at everything. That was, I mean, believe me, we were always looking for entertainment that didn't cost anything, and that was certainly that. And want to look at alligators. And then you had Gator Growl, which was the coolest thing ever. That is, Florida, University of Florida should be proud about 2 things: Gator Growl in its peak, Gatorade. There, that's the list. Now, there's obviously discovering a cure for cancer, things like that. But Gator Growl was something else. Now, I guess they still have it, but it's not. It's a student production. Not only a student production, but it was student production then. It's a student pep rally, and that's fine. It just got to a point where people didn't want to go or weren't going. I guess I loved going, man. It was great, but it is homecoming. I don't know that it has the same connotation it used to as being whether it's a big deal or not. Now, if Mississippi State wants to make it a big deal, they can. Hey, look, it's homecoming here, man. Let's go out there and ruin their day. Let's go out there and make them not want to have Christmas. Stuff like that. That's the way I would go about it. But anyway, those of you who do enjoy homecoming, I hope you enjoy it. And we're having I don't know if you can call it homecoming. I guess my brother-in-law, Karen's brother, Bobby, and his family are coming down, where they're going to be staying here. I think they'll be sleeping right where I'm doing this podcast from. So they'll be here, and it is homecoming because, of course, he went to school at Florida. So look forward to seeing Bobby. All right, let's get to number 4 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is, if you look at the schedule for this week, it's an SEC schedule is what it is. There are literally almost no games to watch other than SEC games, but the SEC games are all pretty good. And I'm fired up, and I thank you. But now, again, a lot of this is because SEC teams are ranked, and that's where maybe the rankings are wrong. Who knows? But come on. I mean, the big noon kickoff is Ohio State, Wisconsin, and they're about to fire their coach. Wisconsin is Luke Fickell. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this. The big story to me is LSU Vandy. Vandy has played, I think I'm getting this stat correct from Cole Kubelik, who's been on this show. 77 times they played the top 10 team in the country in their history. Never been a favorite. They are today. They are favorites over LSU, which I find a little stunning. We'll get to that down the road. Also, another game I can't wait to watch: Oklahoma at South Carolina. That's the SEC Network game in the early time slot. I'm just curious to see why South Carolina's not playing well. They just don't feel like it's the year we thought it was going to be for them. And I mean, they were supposed to be a playoff team, so I want to see how that goes. And again, Oklahoma's got a little hangover from that loss, so we'll see how that goes. Ole Miss Georgia, of course, the highlight of the week. That's a 3:30 game. The Florida Mississippi State game is certainly interesting in that Jeff Lebby has got things going there a little bit, and a win at Florida would really be big for him and for Mississippi State, and obviously be the final death knell, I think, for Billy Napier. I think you go to 2-5 in a year you were supposed to be good, and you're 3 games under 500. I don't see the point. I would say the bye week is the perfect time to let a coach go. You're not going to win many more games. If you win any at all, you might win at Kentucky. You're not going to beat Georgia with an interim coach or a head coach. You're not going to beat Ole Miss, probably at Ole Miss. You don't win on the road. We've 4-12. That's been documented. Tennessee and FSU at home, it's just not. I mean, not unless you bring Spurrier down from the press box and let him coach him. That would get people excited. Now, I don't know if it would go. Steve's told me many times he'd have to change his offense, but he wouldn't do that. He doesn't want to do that, of course. I don't know, maybe make Steve Jr. interim coach. That'd be interesting. You can announce it as, we're announcing today that we have hired Steve Spurrier to be our head coach. Oh, it's Junior. Sorry, it's Junior. Anyway, that'd be a lot of fun. And you got the Tennessee-Alabama game. It's a night game. How good is that going to be? I can't wait to watch that. Also, Missouri at Auburn. I can't wait to see how Hugh Freeze gets screwed again by the officials. And maybe Missouri finally going on the road. They have not played a road game this year. I believe I'm correct on that. Not played a road game. Or haven't played a game outside of the state. That's what it is, yeah. And now they're going to Auburn, which is a tough environment. We saw that last week. Tough environment, angry fans that are ready to throw things. We'll see what happens. All right. Finally, number 5 on our Royal Blue starting 5. I just wanted to say this because I've been thinking about it a lot. It is depressing what's going on at Florida. It's depressing. It's not, and I don't take it personally. I know there are a lot of fans who take it personally when the Gators lose. You're ruining my weekend. Those guys are out there doing their best, trying their best. Look, they've got to do better. I think they've got to change coaches. I think that the AD better get this one right. He's 0 for 2 right now. It's not personal, but it is personal because, especially for those of us who went to the University of Florida and graduated from the University of Florida and have strong ties to the University of Florida. It's a special place to me. It's the place where I grew up, in a lot of ways, and have spent more years of my life in Gainesville than any place else in the world. And I love the University of Florida, and I would like to see them do better. So in that way, it does get a little personal. But what can you accomplish here right now? Go to the Gasparilla Bowl again? No. This season is done, okay? And that is the depressing part of it. Now, you can follow me over to the Negative Rooting Club, and it's going to be hard because there's some late games this week we got to deal with. But look, this season's over. I hate to say it. It's over. Now, I'm not saying don't go to the game. Go to the game. Cheer like hell. You're cheering for the laundry, man. You're not cheering for Billy Napier. You're cheering for the laundry and the players who could all be gone after this year. So, even then, you kind of go, hey, I do like Miles Graham. I like him very much. Noah's dad, obviously. But who knows if he'll be here next year. You're cheering for the laundry. You're cheering for that shirt on your back. You're cheering for the earrings you're wearing, men, and women bracelets that have orange and blue on them. That's what you're cheering for. You're cheering to be a Gator. And it's depressing what's going on. But I just keep going back and reminding myself we won the national championship in basketball. Yay. I knew it wouldn't last the whole year, but that's the problem is it's a sad state of affairs right now. But anyway, we'll talk more about a sad state of affairs with our guest, Matt Hayes from USA Today and, of course, 1010XL Radio. Right after we take this break, this is another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hey, let's talk about something that's been a real game changer for many people, including me. BMI TeleMed is one of our sponsors. They're the weight loss specialists and can help you tackle that stubborn belly fat. You know, the kind that usually creeps up once you hit your 40s. Bob Parado and Charlie Gonzalez, 2 UF-trained pharmacists, work with their medical director to prescribe and deliver the same meds that helped me lose 50 pounds. Yep, 50 pounds. That belly fat, it's not just about looks. It's unhealthy and makes you feel sluggish. Now is the time to do something about it before football season rolls around again. If you're anywhere in Florida, BMI TeleMed, simple online telehealth platform makes it easy. Your weight loss meds get delivered right to your door fast. From my experience, you feel full sooner, eat less, but can keep enjoying the foods that you love, just in smaller portions. Plus, it helps with blood sugar and cravings. Do yourself a favor, head to bmitelemed.com to set up a free private consultation. No obligations, no contracts. These Gators know their stuff. You'll look better, feel better, and be healthier. Visit bmitelemed.com today. Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Let us go to our good friend Matt Hayes today. Of course, we have him on every once in a while, and especially when he writes controversial columns. We love those. Writes for USA Today, and of course, he's on 1010XL. You listen to him there, and occasionally I'm on with him. I know that's the highlight of his day. Wouldn't that?
I mean, I'm shocked that I'm on the same podcast as Steve Spurrier. Like, it's basically just you and Spurrier all the time.
That's right. Well, Mondays, yeah.
I should be very blessed.
Yeah, well, let me tell you what, I know that there are a lot of guys who sit there and wait for what he's going to say and then write it down, and they get a story. That's their story for the day.
Yeah, of course. He loves that.
Talk about your column. USA Today, of course, that Billy Napier could be fired by the end of the weekend. I don't know if it even depends on winning and losing, and that's what I get this question all the time. Whether I'm in a convenience store, or a golf course, or anything. Right. When it's not, is he getting fired? It's a win.
Right. It's Dools, and you know this, but I think it needs to be said, just point blank. It's so flippin' hard to win football games.
It is,
and I don't think fans that sit in those stands, the 90,000, and scream and yell and scream fire Billy and scream fire Scott Strickland and scream at the players that they're bums and they're overpaid. I don't think they get it. I don't. You could have great players, Pat, and win 6 games. As my dog comes walking in here,
okay.
And win 6 games.
We're dog friendly.
you could have great players and a great coach, and maybe get to a championship game, a conference championship game. You can have great players, a great coach, get some luck, and be fortunate to win a conference championship game. You could have great players, great coach, get some luck, and the planets align, and then you got a shot at winning the overall national championship. And I don't think that the general people realize how hard it is to win football games. When you see like Billy Napier walk off the field, and it looks like has a death in his family, it's because all they put into it. When you see Scott Strickland walk off the field, or you see the players walk off the field, and they look like someone just took their dog, man, that's what it's all about. It's difficult to win a game. I can still remember, Dools, I'll never forget this. I spent a game day on the field with Mike Price once at Washington State. It's like in the early 2000s. They had a big game. It was a critical game in the Pac-12. Remember the Pac-12? It was a Pac-10.
I've heard of it, yeah.
So he used like some trick play to beat Arizona State in the end. It was fantastic, okay? By the way, real quick, I'm right next to him on the sideline the whole game, okay? At one point, he looks at me and he goes, "What should I call here?" How good is Mike Price, by the way? So we're done. So we go back to his coach's locker room, and he's sitting there, and he's like just exhausted. And he made the point to me, I don't think people realize how hard it is to win just one game. Not 2 or 3 or 4 in a row, or go on a run, or 7 games to get balled, or 6 games to get balled, but one flipping game. So yeah, it's very easy for us to say get rid of the guy, because clearly he has not performed at the level of expectations, and I get all of that. But I just think that people need to understand the enormity of what it's like to win one game. And I think you see a lot of Florida players on social media. A lot of them, you know why they're backing him? Because they get it. They understand the difficulty of it. Now, majority of them are probably swinging against him now, but the reality is it's not easy. It is not easy to do, man.
Well, it is not easy, and we've talked about this with basketball too. How hard it is to win one game in the NCAA tournament. Just to
Yeah,
win one is almost hard. I mean, it's hard. And then for Florida basketball to do what they did certainly was impressive. But the other thing is, why make it harder for yourself? That's the thing that drives me crazy about Billy.
agreed.
Is why go for it if you're going to go for it on 4th and 6? Have a play on 3rd and 6 that gets more than no yards. I mean, things that he does. You're last in the frickin' SEC in scoring. The University of Florida is last.
Yeah,
The home of Steve Spurrier.
Fun and
It's got
gun.
his name right up there.
Yeah. I will say this to you too. Here's another great anecdote. So this was like a year before Eli Drinkwitz hired Kirby Moore to be his OC and play caller, because Eli did all the play calling and offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, did all of it, right? Because that's what he does. That's what he's known for. So we're at SEC meetings in Destin. This was 2021, I think, maybe 2022. And everybody's talking about NIL and players getting paid and player movement. And, Brian Kelly's out there and some big name coaches are out there and everybody's talking to them. And Eli's standing against the wall away from it, 1 foot up on the wall, 1 foot down, just hanging out like just a normal guy. And I walk over to him and leaned up against the wall next to him. He goes, "Man, I'm just trying to win 6 games." And that's it right there in a nutshell.
Oh.
And then a year later, I think he realized, okay, I got to hire an offensive coordinator. I got to hire a play caller. I got to hire a quarterbacks coach. He did it, and now look what's happened to Mizzou. Now, you may say, okay, well, Missouri's got 10 wins, and they haven't beaten anybody, and who cares? Well, I think Florida fans would be pretty happy with 10 wins right now, if you quote-unquote haven't beaten somebody.
Well,
so I think that's his biggest fault, Pat. I think that's his biggest fault is that he's held on to that offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, play caller role, and he hasn't given it up, when clearly what he's doing is not working.
If you were the head coach of a team that was 126th in the country in pass efficiency and it scored 7 fourth quarter points, you'd fire the OC. You'd fire the OC.
Insane.
Yeah. You'd fire the OC. Well, you're the OC. So fire yourself and move on. But he's just stubborn about that. And I think that's what's going to end up costing him.
I think what really shook me was the South Florida game. When it's not only just the amount of points and how the offense looked, he kind of blamed it on holding call, and we had a miss here. And no, that's like structurally what you're doing is wrong. Structurally, what you're doing when you have guys in a phone booth, when you have 3 electric receivers that you get them in space, they can do anything. What you're doing structurally is wrong. And I think that's the point. That's a fair criticism. The criticism, you suck, you lose games. Everybody loses games.
Yeah.
The fair criticism is your offense isn't working. You got to make a change. And I think that's going to be his downfall, is that when he had an opportunity to make a change. Now, he tried to hire Charlie Weiss Jr., and Charlie Weiss Jr. eventually stayed with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. So at least he tried. But since, nothing. And you got to, he had to have done something to realize, look, what we're doing isn't working. I can see it. Even in those Ole Miss and LSU games last year. When they went on that run last year, Pat, it was built on the defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
That defense is a top 15 defense. I don't care what happened at Texas A&M last week. Things happen in specific games. That's a top 15 defense. They should not be where they are right now.
No, absolutely. And I think when you have an offense that just can't produce points, can't produce in the red zone, can't produce and you saw the beginning of that A&M game. They're scripted. They go right down the field and score. We're saying, hey, maybe they figure some things out. But once they got off script, they struggled with it. And of course, again, scored 0 points in the fourth.
It's the adjust. It's the adjust that hurts them. It's specifically the adjust against defensive-minded coaches like Elko, like Kirby Smart, like Mark Stoops. They struggle against Kentucky. So he gets up against a defensive-minded coach, and that staff has problems adjusting. And to me, that's another issue is he, what he should have done, and I don't think there's any chance of them saving this, but what he should have done was just detach himself from the offense. And I know he's probably thinking, look, I know this is it for me. If I'm going down, I'm going to go down my way. And I get all of that. I get it totally. But, at some point you've got to be able to stand outside the bubble and say, okay, this is what needs to happen. And he didn't. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happened last year. I mean, the AD came to him and said, hey, you probably need to hire an offensive coordinator. And then he went out and won all those games in a row, 4 games in a row. And he goes, I think I'm good. And you can't really argue with that because but you're right. That was built on defense, not only on defense, but it wasn't, everybody thought Lagway was this superstar, but he didn't do a lot during that time. He did enough to win.
He did enough.
It was good. But when
He didn't turn the ball over.
But when your goal is to avoid losing, and that's, like Doug Dickey, the old Doug Dickey play, and you're losing, you're under 500, 2 games under 500 as a head coach. If you get fired after this game, you'll be the first under 500 coach fired at Florida since the 40s.
40s. The 40s.
That was Raymond Bear Wolf. I covered some of those games.
I just think you can't. I think that offense, the whole goal of that offense is ball security. And that's very important. Ball security is very important, okay? But that cannot be your foundation of your offense. You've got to do different things. You got to keep people in conflict on defense. I don't see them pushing anyone in conflict after the first series or 2 because the other team adjusts and then there's no adjustment.
No adjustment back. No reverse adjustment. Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. And let's just like in that game, Florida's defense adjusted too and got a lot better. Okay. And A&M didn't respond to it for a while, and then they get the turnovers and obviously changed everything. But hey, I think let me ask you this. Who's the best team in the SEC right now? Because that's a question I keep asking myself, and I'm not sure I have an answer.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I guess the easy answer is probably Alabama.
Yeah.
But first off, I think Georgia's
A&M's got good football players.
Georgia's going to expose Ole Miss this week. There's no doubt about that. I like A&M. I still want to see what A&M does on the road in a conference game in a big environment. We're not there yet, so I want to see that. But yeah, I would say Alabama, A&M, Georgia. I still put Georgia in there too, even though they're just barely hanging on, man. Just barely hanging on.
They are. I thought they were, that was last week was incredible. I mean, that game, and again, I'm sure Hugh Freeze at one point went, okay, what day should I expect the apology from the SEC officials? Because he already got one.
They said nothing.
Oh.
Kirby's on video calling timeout, and they said nothing. They literally said nothing. How do you not either suspend Kirby or suspend the official?
Yeah.
Kirby's calling timeout and then says he was clapping, and then basically badgers the official into not only giving him his timeout back, but resetting the play clock with no penalty. And then, there's Freeze on the other sideline, Coach Eeyore. Oh, well, I guess we'll just try harder.
Yeah, well, hey, look,
I would have been sprinting to the field saying, are you guys out of your mind? He called timeout. End of story. Full stop.
Well, and that's what I think Florida is missing that they really need, and that is a coach with an edge to them. And that right now they're like a soft bunny, a little cuddly teddy bear or something, where they're really nice and they do good things and they go out and they build homes for people and they show up for kids and all that stuff is great. And I love it. Their GPA's never been higher. They aren't winning football games and they need somebody to drag them to greatness.
If you could get like an amalgamation of the former coaches, like Billy would be the GM and player procurement guy, and Will would be the DC, and Mullen would be the OC. I mean, I don't know who you'd put a head coach, but you could probably put anybody a head coach. They'd win 10 games.
I think I could do that, yeah.
Right. But it all goes back to what I was talking about. I mean, everybody is involved in trying to win games, from the president to the AD to the head coach to the players. So the guys in the equipment manager room that are washing the jerseys, everybody's involved. I'm telling you right now, when they lose, those dudes in the equipment room are in the jar, man. The jar. So everybody is exhausted. Losing it's everything.
And not only that, but they've hired 1 million people over there. Well, that's 1 million people that are going to lose their job.
Yeah.
And I always think about that. I know Urban, that's why he came back for the year that he shouldn't have come back for, but was Mickey Marotti was saying, look at all these people out here that you care about. They're all going to get fired when you leave. And that's when he went back to Jeremy and talked him into coming back. I wish he hadn't, but anyway.
Well,
So
I mean, Duels, honestly, if you're Billy Napier and you know you have a problem on offense and your AD says you need to hire an offensive coordinator and you know you're in a make or break season from here out, right? Don't you at least look at all those families and say, all right, if I get fired, they're all going.
yeah,
At the very least, I can give them a chance by saying I'm going to hire an OC instead of just saying, no, I'm betting on myself. I'm doubling down.
he is convinced somewhere in his mind that the reason that they came and got him is because of his offensive coaching ability. And that's not it. They came and got him because they wanted somebody who could recruit and who had a plan for recruiting and wasn't going to be exposed for having his secretary texting players and stuff
Right.
like.
He's a good dude. He's
Yeah.
a good dude who's really organized. He's a great recruiter. He's everything you want to coach other than they don't win games.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I mean, everybody there at that university desperately wanted him to win, but this is where you are right now.
Was it Parcells that said it first? You are what your record is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my friend Will Muschamp. Will Muschamp spoke at the Gainesville Quarterback Club last week.
How good is Will, by the
It
way?
was awesome.
He's the best, man.
I love that guy. But yeah, he said it too. You are what your record are. And when he got fired, he accepted it. He said, "Hey, look, I didn't win. I didn't win enough games, and that's where we are right now."
I'm sure Billy will accept it too. He won't have a problem. He knows. I mean, he sounded like a guy on Monday who knew the end was near.
Yeah.
Right. This is the business we're in. We get paid a lot of money, and he's right. They do get paid a lot of money, and you shouldn't feel sorry for him. And that's not the point that I was making earlier in the show. I was just saying it's very hard to win games, and I know they get paid a lot of money. I know Scott Strickland gets paid a lot of money. I know the players now get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
But that doesn't eliminate the reality of it's not as simple as, oh, let's go flip the switch on and go win a game. It's just not how it works, man.
That's something I forgot to bring this up when I was talking to Quarterback Club Tuesday. Florida does have really good players. Okay, there's no doubt in my mind.
Probably a top 3 roster in the league.
But the point is, everybody else in the SEC has good players. Everybody does. You know, and even like a Vanderbilt has better players than they usually have. Now, Pavia is a difference maker. There's no question about it. I think what is he, a 9th-year senior? So, but everybody is coming to town with good players. And by the way, you played 4 straight top 10 teams. The last time that happened, we had not landed on the moon yet. So that's how.
You know what? You know what? I don't buy that excuse. You know why? I always go back to Spurrier.
Yeah.
What do you mean we got to play them? They got to play us.
Yeah. We got all Georgia back-to-back. What's the big deal?
Right. They got to play us.
Everybody was complaining before.
I think Herb said that too. They got to play us.
Yeah.
We don't have to play them.
Before we let you go, we have to play our game. Yes, no way, or maybe. It is brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteaks, street dining done the right way, as is the Zoom line where Matt Hayes is appearing. And of course, if you go in there and say you listen to this podcast or any podcast, you get free French fries with your order. Okay. Another website has listed the possibility of 40 coaches being fired. We got 9 right now.
40
coaches at the end of are you taking the over or the under?
Under.
Yeah, that seems like a big number there.
40 would be the most ever.
Oh, yeah. Well,
By
it's
a long way.
the most ever at this time of year.
By a long way, 40 would be the most ever.
Yeah.
Wow. 40.
Wow.
How many are in the SEC?
All of them. I look, there's a lot of guys on the hot seat right now. And that includes our friend Mike Norvell, who is, people are looking and going, okay, that 1 year was a fluke.
Not with that buyout.
No,
that's
too
60
high.
mil.
Too high.
They're complaining about they don't make enough money in the ACC right now. They're not going to pay him $60 million to not coach. No way.
Nah. All right. Number 2 on yes, no, where, maybe. You would not want to be. I'm trying to read this. I can't really read it.
Put your glasses on, man.
Well, I can't put them on because then I get bright lights. But I got to put them on because I can't read it. All right.
This is the beauty of podcasts. I love it.
Oh, I know. That's right. You would not want Billy Napier timing the rest of your life.
Timing?
Yes, because you could be dead by the end of the week.
I don't want anyone timing the rest of my life. I want me timing the rest of my life.
Well, it's just so funny because clock management is a big problem for him. He just doesn't get that. At the end of the first half, I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it, I'm just kind of laughing to myself, you know. You let a minute go by with one play.
But Duels, those little things that should be like second nature, you know what they lead to? False starts, procedure calls, offsides. They lead to little things that become big things on the field. That's why it's so important that you have a guy that has his stuff together on the sidelines.
Right. And it doesn't mean he doesn't have to be fiery, you know.
But he could be fiery.
Yeah.
Herb was fiery.
I want fire.
Herb was all kinds of fiery.
He was at one time.
Brought shame upon the university, but still won 2 championships, right?
That's why he wanted, at one time he wanted Tebow to chest butt him because he wasn't fired up enough, and then he almost killed him. Finally, number 3. This is an interesting one for you on yes, no way, or maybe. Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the state of Florida. College, pro, high school, little league, minor league.
Oh, I'm going to go yes, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, are you disappointed in what Trevor Lawrence has done this year so far?
I think everyone is. It's still early. He's still early in the process with this offense. You know, and I think he's shown that he gets it a little bit. And, you know, ever since he's been in the league, you will see instances where you're like, whoa, all right, that's the guy that you spent the first overall pick on. So I don't think it doesn't mean he won't get there. I think he absolutely could get there. But right now, Baker, my God, that last game, that's the guy you want, man. You want a fiery guy like that on the field, getting in people's faces, doing everything he can to make a play, to get a first down, a talented guy, a guy that gets the entire roster fired up and ready to go. That's the guy you love, man. I love guys like that.
He just says, get on my back. I'll take you.
Right. Let's go, man. Let's go. Yeah.
There are other guys who go, I'll help you try to win, you know.
You know what he is? He's a quarterback you win because of, not a quarterback you win with.
Or despite of, in some cases.
Right.
All right, Maddie, I appreciate you so much. You know that. You're a good friend, and really appreciate you coming on and talking about your column, too. You know, we'll see what happens. I still think if he wins Saturday, he buys a little time. If he loses, they're going to go ahead and make that move Sunday.
It's almost like it's always the Georgia week when everything happens.
Yeah.
Always. Look at it. It's Moen, it's McElwain, it's Will. Well, it was the week after, right? South Carolina was the week after.
Yeah.
With that block punt or whatever it was.
The ultimate, because I'm standing in the back of the press box doing press conferences before the game because everybody wants to talk about what's going on. Right. So basically I'm saying, well, you know, he doesn't get along with the other coaches, blah, 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 telling everybody the stories. And then they all wrote their columns. They were writing their columns at halftime. They weren't even, I don't have to write about the game. I'm writing about this. So
right.
I was glad I could be of assistance.
Good.
All right. We'll see you, buddy. Another duly noted podcast will return after this message.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't. Our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured.
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila. Aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila. Smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Here are just a few reasons why doing business with the Royal Blue puts you at the helm of your boating lifestyle. 1, the longer we have your listing, the lower percentage commissions you will pay. 2, survey reimbursement for qualified buyers. 3, detail reimbursement for qualified sellers. 4, on-the-water delivery orientation availability. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294. Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. I did hear from Scott Hart, who won our Leonardo's pick last week, and we were talking about getting together at Leo's and getting the duels. That sandwich is the best, man. I'm telling you. I had one just the other day. Oh, it's good. Chicken Parmesan sub. You need to get that when you go to Leonardo's, and of course, we'll have our Leonardo's pick coming up in just a little bit, but let's get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things to start off this segment of the show. You know Hesser and Kipke, the number to call 352-339-9920, or reach them at www.hklawfl.com for all your workers' compensation and family law needs. The only place to go is Hesser and Kipke. All right, let's get to 3 things. We'll start off with, I guess home field doesn't mean that much in the American League playoffs because the Mariners won the first 2 in Toronto, and then Toronto killed them last night, 13-4. So I will say this. So how excited are you about baseball right now? And I don't know if it's just because it's not the brand name teams. The Dodgers are one, but we kind of know the Dodgers are going to win the whole thing. We don't want to watch that again. It's boring. I think dynasties are boring unless they're your dynasties. You know, like the Patriots love their dynasty. I didn't particularly care for it. The Warriors loved their dynasty. I loved their dynasty, but anti-Warriors people didn't love their dynasty. And I think that the Dodgers are going to win this thing up 2-0 right now. But it's just not. There's football on, man. It's always something better to watch than a baseball game because, football games can be dragged out, and we know this. The officials have lost their minds sometimes. They can be dragged out, and we get tired of that. But it's not like baseball where you turn it over and then you turn it back and nothing's happened, and you turn it back and nothing's happened. And I think part of that, other than that game last night, is the pitching is so good when you get to the very end that it's hard. Anyway, I'm going to try to watch a little bit of it, but there's other games on, man. I want to get to those. All right. Number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. This is what happens when you have all these coaching openings. And we talked about it with Matt. 9 openings right now. It was CBS Sports, I think, that predicted, or I don't know if they were predicting, but saying there could be as many as 40. That is if you assume everybody who you may think is in trouble loses out, and doesn't do well. I don't think it would get to 40. I would definitely have taken the under there, but I think it could be in the 20s easily, as far and we're at 9 right now. But when this happens, every coach gets asked about it, and they want to be asked about it. Believe me, they don't want it to be a distraction to their team, but they want to be asked about it because they want people to talk about it, and they want Jimmy Sexton or Trace Armstrong is their agent. They want the name out there, so they act like they're indignant, but they're not. They love it. It's like they plant the thing. But we heard him from Mullen yesterday. He's shooting down talk of leaving this job, and I'm like, well, I know one job he's not going to get. But Dan Mullen would be a great hire at a place like take another step up to a better school, and don't expect him to be around too long or be good for too long, because he'll find a way that his ego gets in the way. But I mean, they got a real chance to get into the playoffs. And then wouldn't that be something? He got in the playoffs there and he couldn't get in Florida. But of course, the playoffs have changed. Anyway, so he got it. What's his name? Drinkwitz. Eli Drinkwitz got questions about it. And of course, I'm not going anywhere, blah, 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 which is what everybody says. Nobody would say anything different. A couple other coaches got it. But, they're tying Mullen to Penn State now. And I'm thinking, so wait a minute. Florida fired Dan Mullen and Penn State's going to hire him now in a roundabout way. Man, that just seems weird to me. But anyway, that's going to happen as we go forward. You know that. All right, let's get to number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and that is Tua Tagovailoa. Oh, I used to be able to say that name way better. Tagovailoa. Anyway, Tua apologized, said, I misspoke, it wasn't right, blah, blah, blah. I kind of liked what he said, even though he shouldn't have said it that way at a press conference. He should have said it like in the locker room, or should have said it to his teammates about guys skipping meetings that are players-only meetings. And look, it's a problem when you've got that going on. There's not a buy-in. There's no doubt about it. I mean, McDaniel's going to get fired. There's no question, I don't think. But if they go lose to the Browns this week, that may be it right there. But he did apologize, and of course he was told by his agent, "You need to go and apologize for this." He apologized to his teammates. So I'm sure at the end of the day, it's no big deal, but it certainly was a big deal on Sunday and Monday. All right, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let's get our this, that, and the other. We always love this, that, and the other. It is brought to you by our good friends at Notary Joe's. Notary Joe is the place to go. Joseph Newton, if you want to get your notary done mobile, it's pretty cool, man. He'll come to your house and do it. His number is 863-990-4884, and you can reach him there. We appreciate Notary Joe. It's also brought to you by Ballyhoo Grill, our good friends at Ballyhoo, where I'm probably going to be heading this weekend, because when we get people in, we take them to Adams, we take them to Spurrier's, and we take them to Ballyhoo. Those are our spots. So we'll be taking them there, and the food is exceptional there. Great bar, great place to go and have a good time. And it's brought to you by our good friends at Dar-Shakow Insurance. Dar-Shakow Insurance for all your home, auto, commercial, and life needs. Go visit them at Dar-Shakow Insurance. Well, the this, that, and the other is kind of a Pat Dooley one right now. And this is, there was a time in my life, look, it wasn't that long ago, when my goal in life was to have a late football game that I could watch on TV. That's all I wanted. Just give me a late game. There's a 10:30 game. Oh, I'd be so happy. Basketball was a bigger deal. You'd want games that could be playing at 2 a.m. But football, it definitely, I just loved those late games. There weren't too many of them back when I was younger. Of course, don't forget, what is 84 when they changed the rule? That was the Oklahoma-Georgia lawsuit that allowed, before it was being governed by, who was governing it? Some organization, I can't remember the name. And so they had the rights, and they only show one or two games. And now, after 84, now everybody's got their own packages. And anyway, you get the point. So there's so many games that are on TVs. So there weren't like late games. But when they were there, man, they were great. And I'm not talking about 7 o'clock games. I'm talking about 10 o'clock games. All right. That was the this. The that is that I don't know if you know this or not, but I got old. It's like I say about, my goal in life is to shoot my age, but I've got to get older to do that. But getting old, you tend to go to sleep a little earlier. You do stay up at times. And I remember one night we were out. I can't remember what we were doing. Karen and I said, she goes, we're up at 1 o'clock. And I'm like, oh man, it doesn't seem right. But that does happen. You do get old and you don't stay up as late and you don't, sometimes I go to bed at halftime of Monday Night Football games, man. I'm just, hey, it's what you are. So the other is, what am I going to do about this weekend? Because Friday, there is a game at 10 o'clock. It's North Carolina is playing. Who's North Carolina playing? 10:30. I'm sorry. North Carolina's playing Cal at 10:30. That's intriguing. I'm curious to watch that. I think Cal's favored in that game. And then the next day, FSU is playing Stanford. FSU's playing Stanford at 10 o'clock. Is it 10 or 10:30? No, that's 10:32. Not 10:32, 10:30 also. So I've got two games. I'm going to do what I did the first week. I'm going to tape them both. And that way I can get up and watch them like they're new with no commercials, instant replay, go right through that. That's the way to live, man. The better way to live would not to be such a football nerd, I guess. Anyway, that is this, that, and the other. We appreciate our sponsors of that segment every week. Let's get to Adam's Ribco, Gator of the week. I do have to make a correction, and it's not on Adam because Adam, this is not his fault, but it's my fault because I screwed up. And we made one of our Adam's Ribco Gators of the week, Jacoby Brissett, and I was saying that he helped the Colts win. And I guess my brain just wasn't functioning properly. I should have looked up some stuff, but I didn't, and I that's my fault, and I take full blame for it. Of course, he plays for the other team, Pittsburgh, right? I still don't know who he plays for. Anyway, he's out as Gator of the Week. We can't do that. But we'll move along to this week's Gator of the Week. And our Gator of the Week this week is Jordan Bird from Florida Volleyball. That was a big win for them last night. They beat number 12 Tennessee in 5 sets. Heck of a match. Jordan Bird had 23 kills and 5 blocks. She had a career high in points, and I don't know how they figure points, but she had a career high in points. They did, and very impressive win for Florida. So Jordan Bird, thumbs up, man. I've been kind of waiting for volleyball to kind of get going, but that's a big win. They got a couple other big matches. I think they play Vanderbilt next, though. Vanderbilt just started volleyball, so they'll probably win that one. Yay. All right. Let's move along to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick pick. And again, Scott Hardaw will get that in the mail to you today, actually, as soon as I'm done here. We appreciate Leonardo's, of course, for we have a good relationship with Kyle Cohen. In fact, I invited him to play in Stop Children's Cancer Tournament, which is on my birthday. How about that? I think that's why they're doing it. They can sing happy birthday to me. All right, so I'm giving you 2 games. And I've been really good to you guys lately, saying you only have to get one right, pulling that extra one, that we came out of nowhere. So I'm going to make it tough on you this week. You got to get them both right to qualify, right? Get them both right. That's all you got to do. Florida, minus 9.5. They're given 9.5 points to Mississippi State. And of course, that line went down 0.5 point. These are all brought to you by my friends at mybookie.ag, the spreads. Florida minus 9.5, Ole Miss plus 7.5 at Georgia. That seems like a lot. But anyway, you make the call. Pick those 2 games. All you got to do is say Florida, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Georgia, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi. Don't say Georgia, Florida, please. Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Anyway, just pick those 2 winners and you will qualify, and we'll have a draw coming up again. I mean, we're going to go ahead and I feel like I'm full now of gift cards after I went and visited my friend Kyle over there at Leonardo's. All right, let's move to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Week, brought to you by our friends at Gallo Car Wash, where my daughter was 2 days ago. I know that. She said, yeah, got to go to Gallo. Now, she's got a new car, so she really likes to keep it clean. She likes to keep her car clean. It's a clean machine. All right, so our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the Week will be search firms. You know why? it still drives me crazy. People hiring search firms. And I know there's people out there, probably people in this town who work for search firms, and they're going to say, you don't understand. Hiring search firms isn't the job of the AD to hire the new coach. Oklahoma State and Arkansas have both hired search firms already, and who knows who else has, and whether, I don't think Florida will, but you never know. Your job is to, and I know this is what Scott has done and what Jeremy did before him. He forms a little committee within the UAA, and they all go together and they interview everybody. They go visit them. They went to Chip Kelly twice. Once actually was Scott by himself, but he took the rest up there. And then they make a decision, and the ADs, of course, got the last word. That's the way it works. You don't hire a search firm to go, oh, we've identified. You don't have to identify anybody. Here's what you got to do. Call Jimmy Sexton. Jimmy, who wants to get out of their job and that I might be interested in? Yeah? Okay. All right. Good. All right. Have him call me. That's what you do. I've done the job of a search firm right there. I've got his number too, Jimmy Sexton, so I call him. Anyway, they are the sponges of the week because they are making money for doing the job the AD should be doing on his own. That's my opinion. All right, let's move along to the Gainesville Quarterback Club. And we had a great speaker on Tuesday night again. Always have great speakers. In fact, my friend Charles Davis is coming this week, and I cannot wait to see him. I knew he's one of the ones that I kind of put together. I went 2 for 3 because Charles is coming and Alex came, but Kevin Carter, I got to get after him. Something must have come up. Anyway, but we certainly have had great speakers, especially, again, Ari Wasserman was the speaker from On3. He does a great job, covers everything, and had some great stories to tell. We had, of course, Will Muschamp before him, Todd Golden before him. We had, Jimbo Fisher before him. And Jimbo's going to get some run on some of these jobs. I can tell you that. He wants to coach in the SEC. Go take the Arkansas job. Well, they don't have any money. Well, they don't have the money to pay you. You're not going to get a buyout like that again. Anyway, so this week, Charles Davis, and I can't wait to see him and hear him. Andy Staples will be one of the speakers, Noah Brandeis. We're going to have a great time at the Gainesville Quarterback Club. We appreciate them so much. In fact, their golf tournament is this week. So if you want to get involved in that, give them a call. I think they said they had one foursome still available, and they have some sponsorships available if you want to get involved in that. So once you get to know these guys, they're hard to resist. All right, let us go to our Los Leonardos. It's hard to write or read when you can't write. I can't read my writing on here. Los Landeros tequila. You know Los Landeros tequila. Go beyond my favorite tequila, Urban Meyer's favorite tequila. I think I need some tequila right now after botching that segment. But Los Landeros is the only place to go for your tequila needs, and we appreciate them. And we will go beyond with them and give you your smooth move of the week. And the smooth move of the week is what the Big 12 did. The Big 12 fined 2 teams. Wouldn't just find everybody in the conference. They find 2 teams playing the same game. Now, they were for different reasons. Texas Tech got fined, and they didn't give the amounts. I don't know, probably 10 grand or something like that. It's nothing. Because they have this tradition of throwing tortillas on the field, which is the dumbest of all traditions. There are a lot of dumb traditions out there. There are a lot of great ones. I mean, I won't back down is one of the best. The eagle flying down in Auburn, one of the best. Throwing tortillas on the field, not good. They got fined for that. They did it twice during the game, got 2 15-yard penalties and a fine. And then, meanwhile, the team they were playing also got fined, Kansas. Lance Leopold got fined because he was critical of the way they handled it, the way the referees handled it. He said that one of the referees almost got hit, and he threw a flag because he threw an object at him, and then he picked the flag up. So I guess it's if somebody throws something from the stands and you throw a flag, then, but I guess they were giving him I don't know. To me, This is multiple tortillas if you see the pictures of them being thrown. Anyway, smooth move, Big 12, finding two teams in the same game. I think that's the first I've ever seen that, but maybe not. Let's move along to our BMI TeleMed smart move of the weekend, or of the week, I'm sorry. BMI TeleMed, your place to go for weight loss. Achieve and maintain with BMI TeleMed 727-383-1677. Tell them Pat Dooley sent you. You get 20% off your order, and it has worked for a lot of people, including me. Trust me, it is something that will work for you. And I think I got to get the new number of how much weight has been lost by people who have been referred by our podcast over to them. So cool. All right, our BMI TeleMed smart move of the week are the ADs that are making these firings. And here's why I say that. If it's not working, have the cojones to do something about it. It's not easy. You think it will be easy with Scott Strickland has to walk into Billy Napier's office? Well, first of all, he'll probably tell him, I need to see you tomorrow. This would be a Sunday. I need to see you tomorrow. Bring all your stuff. But anyway, you have to fill out all this paperwork. I've seen this happen before. Paperwork, that they have to fill out and I don't know, sign away your third child or whatever. But anyway, it's not easy, but the ADs are pulling the plug. And look, if it's not working, it's not working. And I was wrong about it. I thought guys wouldn't get fired because of that $200 million or $20 million payout that all the schools can do. They don't have to do, but they have it available for them to pay out. But they have to come up with that money. But I was wrong. I mean, I was dead wrong, and they're firing them left and right. Like I said, if you were not listening to this part of it earlier, CBS Sports said that it could be as many as 40 coaches get fired. Now, don't think it'll be that much, but the ADs are not, for the most part, are not saying, oh, the buyouts are too big. Now, the Norvell buyout is way too big. He's not going to get fired. I think it's 58 million or something, but you see different numbers. And we'll see what happens. Like, for example, if Billy Napier gets bought out, it's 21 million and 9 million's due right away. But then you pay it off in increments. There's other coaches that have buyouts that you only pay it off monthly. The buyout for James Franklin. Again, you talk about, look, it wasn't working there. The fans were fed up with it. They'd had enough of him. The AD was smart enough to make a move that a lot of people are questioning. Now, if the AD did that because he wanted to go get Matt Rule, who's his buddy at Nebraska, and Rule said, "Yeah, I'll come. We'll work out the deets later because these guys are tight." If he did it because of that, I think that was a foolish move. But if he did it because, hey, look, we got a problem here, and we got to solve this problem and move on to whatever else we're going to do. I agree with that. So there you have it. BMI TeleMed, smart move of the week. All right, let's get to mybookie.ag. We mentioned them before, but we got to make my pick on mybookie.ag. Of course, if you want to go on there and you can bet on college, NFL, WNBA, you can bet on casino games, there's spin games, there's you can bet on horse racing. Everything is there for you if you want to get involved in that and do some betting on it. And if you listen to my advice, I will tell you which team not to bet on, because I am not on a bad roll. That Georgia win came out of nowhere. I thought I'd lost that game, and to be honest with you, Georgia should not have won that game. And then last week, the Bills, I think it was a lock bet. They get beat. I'm going to try one more, and then I'm going to shift to a different sport, because maybe it's just, I think I know a lot about football, but I really don't. LSU getting 2.5 at Vandy. Now, as we talked before, Vandy has never been a home or a favorite in a top 10 matchup in its existence. Maybe in a debating class they were, but not in college football. But LSU plus 2.5 against Vandy, that to me is a lock bet, man. And if I get this one wrong, I'm switching to, I may go WNBA. Really, I can't do any worse than I've been doing. Anyway, let's move along and wrap up our show this week, as we always do, with our Swamp games of the weekend. The Swamp is going to be packed all weekend. We're going out there today, Jeff Cardozo and I. We're going to do the tailgate out there. We always do on home Thursdays. Have a blast doing it. Can't wait to see Kyle and Ryan and all the great waitresses out there that do such a good job. And these are the games of the week. And we'll start off with tonight. Baseball Thursday night tonight, 6:08 is the Milwaukee at LA game on TBS, and then the Seattle Toronto game is at Seattle. It's at 8:33 on FS1, and then Friday the same two teams play, and then Saturday it's just one game. It's the AL game at 8:03 if you want to watch that. We tried to give you football games for each spot here, but I'll give you the Friday night game, Louisville at Miami. That's a game I'm interested in. I'm hoping Louisville can make it a game. I'm doubtful they can. But anytime you've got Braum as the coach, he'd make some upsets happen. I'm curious about that game. That game is Friday night, 7:30 on ESPN. Let's give you the noon game. The best noon game to me is that LSU Vandy game, which we mentioned. It's on ABC at noon. The best 3:30 game, Ole Miss at Georgia. It's on ABC as well. But ABC's killing it with these games. And then you've got Tennessee, Alabama is on ABC at 7:30. So just leave it on ABC the whole time. And then you've got the game I'm interested in probably the most as far as the NFL is probably the Tampa Bay at Detroit Monday Night Football game. We'll talk a little bit more about that maybe down the road, but yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that game. Okay, so that'll do it. We've got it all covered. Look, we can't give you all the games that are on, but I will say the SEC is dominating this weekend. Enjoy it. I love these kind of SEC special weekends. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks so much to Zach for dealing with me all day. And don't forget, next week, Monday, Coach Spurrier will see what he has to say about this game. I raised my eyebrows. All right. We'll just see what happens. All right. Let's come back Monday and have a good time. And we'll have a good show. This has been another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We'll be back Monday. Until then, I am Pat Dooley saying I am deep, I am way back, and I am out of here.